is after a double in Bogalusa. Investigators have spent the past 24 hours trying to put all the pieces together. There were 3 separate scenes. Authorities believe they're all connected and that they're part of a bigger problem.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's KB and we locked in. Now let's jump into it. Today, we're going to be talking about JayDaYoungan, the history behind the rapper, the place he came from, and how it all led to his tragic demise. On July 27, 2022, at around 6 in the afternoon, law enforcement in Bogalusa, Louisiana started to receive phone calls reporting a in the small city. They responded to the 600 block of Superior Avenue, where one victim laid in the driveway, suffering from multiple wounds. While paramedics struggled to keep the victim alive, police were informed that another person had been shot as well, but was transported by personal vehicle to the Our Lady of the Angels emergency room. The victim that was on the scene was then loaded up onto an ambulance as well and transported to the emergency room too. The victims weren't identified by authorities at the time, but word of the and its location quickly spread to social media, and it didn't take long for people to start talking about it. And word on the streets was the victim was Louisiana rapper JayDaYoungan. At first, Jay's sister took to Instagram to debunk the rumor that was going around, saying in a tweet, "Ain't nobody dead. Stop eating and go read a book." She followed that tweet up on Instagram with a story post that said, "I hate y'all internet people and stop trying to confirm y'all don't know bullshit." Instagram removed her story, but she followed it up with another post that said, "Instagram removed my post, but yeah, all of that is cap. Nobody get a life." This didn't stop the word from spreading though, as people started to point out that in a dash cam video of the crime scene that was put on the internet, Jay's blue Corvette could be seen parked outside of the house, and this house was JayDaYoungan's mother's house. Later that night, at around 11 p.m., the Bogalusa Police Department confirmed via a Facebook post that the victim was indeed Javarius Scott, better known as JayDaYoungan. They also included more information, like the fact that the second victim was Kenyatta Scott Sr., who is also JayDaYoungan's father. Now, I'm sure Jay's sister was just trying to be hopeful in her post where she was trying to claim that he was still alive, but in that same Facebook post that the Bogalusa Police Department made, they also confirmed that JayDaYoungan had passed away as a result of his injuries. In the days that followed, more details came out about what was really going on. According to law enforcement and eyewitnesses, Jay and his dad were standing on the front porch of the house when an SUV could be seen driving past. Now, some people have reported that the SUV was white, some people have reported that the SUV was black, but regardless, the SUV drove past the house and made a right-hand turn at the very next street. On this road, there is an alley that leads behind the house. Apparently, 5 guys jumped out of the SUV in the alley, and then the SUV made its way back to the main road where the front of the house was. Outside of the house, in the front yard, was JayDaYoungan, his father, and 3 more guests that were seated on the front porch. It was at this moment that the 5 men ran up from the alley behind the house, popped out from around the side of it, and opened on the crowd. Jay's dad said he was strapped and started back, but it was too late. JayDaYoungan's dad got twice in the arm, while Jay himself was over 8 different times. After the clips was empty, the ran back to the SUV in front of the house and took off, leaving Jay on the scene, dying from his injury. Law enforcement and paramedics would arrive, load Jay up, and take him to the emergency room where he would undergo emergency surgery and pass away as a result. JayDaYoungan, real name Javarius Scott, was born on July 15, 1998 and was being raised in Bogalusa, Louisiana. Bogalusa is a small town about 1.5 hours to 2 hours away from Baton Rouge and about 1 hour and 15 minutes away from New Orleans. While some bloggers on YouTube have tried to be funny and describe the area as trailer parks and country people riding horses, bro, let me tell you something. These folks in Bogalusa and the surrounding areas know how to get down, and it's less trailer parks and more trenches, and gang culture runs rampant through the streets. It was in these streets that Jay spent most of his early years. Jay grew up basically in his grandmother's care because his mom was in the army and was deployed a lot of the time, and his dad was in prison, which his dad is a topic we'll touch on in the conclusion of this video. But anyways, now, given its proximity to Mississippi, New Orleans, and Baton Rouge, Bogalusa has ties in both directions, east and west of the city. In 2020, census data showed that Bogalusa only had a reported population of 10,659 people, meaning it's a real small area. But that number is a number that was down from a 2010 count of the population that had it reported as 12,232. So, Bogalusa has some of the same problems a lot of cities with gangs have, which is a dwindling population that equates to a dwindling economy, which just increases the instability of the region, leading to a never-ending cycle of poverty and gangs. To put into perspective how poor and impoverished the area is, we gotta look at the stats. The median income in the United States is $33,133 per capita or per person. Now, that's the average that a person makes living in the USA. However, Louisiana residents have an income of only $27,139 per capita. If placed on a list of states with the highest to lowest median income, Louisiana is not far from being at the bottom of the list. But that's not even the worst part, because for the residents of Bogalusa, the median income is just $18,560, which is almost a 50% decrease from the national average, making it one of the lowest in the nation. Meaning that people here are pretty much stuck in the struggle with no way to get out. Poverty, gangs, narcotics, the city is plagued with it all. This is the environment Jay was being raised in, and according to Jay, he had always been in the streets.
See, the thing is, with me, I mean, during school, I always been in the streets. The streets always been a part of me, and I always been a part of the streets.
At the same time, Jay thought he was going to be a basketball player and go to the NBA. Well, that was until he was kicked off the team.
I played basketball. I was trying to go to the NBA. I had hoop dreams. I was watching Rajon Rondo. It was my role model, but at a certain point, I got in high school and I couldn't stay on the team. So either my grades weren't right or I stayed in some bullshit, stayed in some trouble, you know, on some bullshit. But so my mom used to always tell me, like, you know, say you gotta get that plan B, you gotta have that backup plan. Me, young, I'm like, man, this is my dream. Like, mom, I'm gonna do it, you know. Yeah, I feel like this me, I don't need no plan B. So we had got to that point where reality hit me, bam. I got kicked off the team. I couldn't play basketball. But me, stuck in my ways, feeling like, oh, I'm so good to the point where, you know, I ain't gonna need that, but I'm gonna keep going. I got kicked off the team, so I had to find another option. So
because of this, Jay turned all his attention to the streets, and it wouldn't be long before Jay decided to stop focusing on school altogether, dropping out in the 12th grade, and instead opting to focus on becoming a rapper, which he started making a real attempt at in the 11th grade.
Music was something I always loved to do. I always could rhyme and make it sound good. So my friends and they would tell me, like, man, you need to really do this and take this serious. So I ended up dropping a song, and the feedback I got on it, it was good. You know, they were with this too. So I shot the video, and it went from there. That's how Jay the Younger came about. Yeah, I started rapping like, yep, right in 11th grade.
Making it out of the trenches in Louisiana is a feat itself, and just to have a goal this big feels like a dream for most people in the area. But this is where Jay came from, and he would take that little momentum from his first release in the 11th grade and make a tremendous come up, solidifying himself as one of the leading rappers coming out of the state. While in the 11th grade, Jay was casually writing raps while in class at high school, and it was nothing he was taking serious at the time, just little raps here and there. But Jay would eventually be talked into rapping and taking it serious by his longtime friend, FG Famous. FG Famous had been rapping for a few years before Jay and managed to get Jay to pop in one time for a studio session. The two recorded a song titled Stick Up, shot a music video for it, posted it on social media, and waited on a response. Within the first 24 hours on YouTube, the song cracked over 1,000 hits, which doesn't really seem like a lot, but when you're from a city that has only 10,000 people in it, bro, that's huge. The song has since gone on to rack up over 1.2 million streams on YouTube as of the time of me recording this video. This was sending Jay the signal that he had something with the music, and it didn't take long for him to jump headfirst into the rap game. 3 months after the release of Stick Up, Jay dropped another music video titled Lay You Down. This track also featured his homie FG Famous, but also had another guest appearance from a rapper named Scotty Kane that was coming out of Louisiana as well. Scotty Kane started popping off around 2014 with the song called Yeah with the Yeah, and had built some buzz around his name in the years that followed that release, so being featured on Lay You Down really helped bring some extra attention to Jay's music. Lay You Down currently sits at around 1.7 million hits on YouTube. These 2 songs really helped cement Jay's thoughts about rap, and from here, he would only continue to rise in popularity. He followed these singles up with his first ever mixtape titled Young Animal in October of 2016. The mixtape didn't really produce any hits for Jay, but it did have some street bangers on it like Around My Way, which also featured his longtime homie FG Famous, and it even had another feature from Scotty Kane. Plus, there was a gem of a song on this mixtape titled Up With Me, which features a guest appearance from NBA Youngboy during the early stages of his career. And NBA Youngboy will play a bigger part in this story here in a little while, but I found it interesting that basically at the beginning of their careers, both NBA Youngboy and Jada Youngin were on this song together. Anyways, in February of 2017, Jay released his second official mixtape titled Rough Way. This project had 9 songs on it in total, with singles like Spinning that has 2.7 million hits on YouTube, and another song called Chief Sosa, which astonishingly has under 1 million views still. The title Chief Sosa probably was derived from the fact that Jay has listed Chief Keef, a Chicago drill rap pioneer, as his favorite artist. The mixtape helped Jay solidify himself as an upcoming artist in the region, and he would once again use the momentum to propel himself even further. With the street success of his first mixtape, Jay doubled down on being a rapper, and over the next few months, he unleashed a barrage of singles and dropped 2 more mixtapes before the end of 2017. He dropped his third mixtape, The Real Jumpman 23, on November 16, 2017, and only a month later, in December of 2017, he dropped his 4th mixtape titled Wake Up, really killing the game at this point. In total, 22 songs were released under these mixtapes, and not a single one of those records had a feature on them. It was because of these solo singles that Jay really started to make a name for himself, and around this point, if you were in Louisiana, you were hearing Jay's music everywhere. It was unavoidable. In February of 2018, Jay dropped a single titled Interstate that racked up over 4 million views on YouTube in under a month, and currently sits at around 36 million hits on his YouTube page. This song was an undeniable hit. Also, this drop got him the attention of XXL Magazine, who was releasing a freshman list every year where they attempted to predict who was next to blow, and in 2018, after his Interstate single took off, Jada Youngin was being considered by the media company as a top contender to make the list. He made the pitch for why he should make it, but unfortunately, like XXL often does, they made the wrong call and left Jay off the list. It didn't slow him down though, and on April 6, 2018, Jay released his 5th mixtape titled Taking Off that had another guest appearance from NBA Youngboy's camp from OG33, which is Youngboy's brother. On July 15, 2018, Jada Youngin would drop his last independent mixtape titled 23. Again, this mixtape didn't have a single feature on it, but it did have another undeniable hit titled Elimination, which for the longest time was the most viewed song on Jay's YouTube channel, with the audio version alone racking up over 38 million views. Because of the attention Jada Youngin's music was generating, it didn't take long for record label scouts to come knocking, wanting a seat at the table that Jay was feasting at. He had been releasing his music under his own label, Rough Way, but after the success of these mixtapes and singles, he would see himself getting signed to Universal Music Group, where he prepared for his next release. And only 5 months after inking his deal with Universal, Jay dropped his first major label mixtape titled Forever 23. This mixtape would take Jay to heights he had never seen before, peaking at number 86 on the Billboard Hot 200 and at number 36 on the Billboard Hip Hop charts. The mixtape featured the track Thot Thot, which currently sits at about 44 million hits on YouTube and has become a certified gold record, selling more than 500,000 units. And this mixtape also had the single Purge, which also racked up almost 10 million views since its release. Now, this was clearly a level up for Jay, but directly after the release of this mixtape, he was also let out of his record deal with Universal Music Group, and I'm not really sure if this was a deal where he only signed for one project and then they let him go, or if he bought himself out, but regardless, he was let go from that record deal with Universal Music Group. But as usual, he stayed resilient and quickly moved on, finding himself signing with Cinematic Music Group in conjunction with Atlantic Records, and from here, Jay just kept climbing. In 2019, Jay released his second major label project titled Endless Pain, which shot up the charts, peaking at number 70 on the Billboard Top 200 and number 37 on the hip hop charts, again marking a new height for Jay. Jay was experiencing a tremendous amount of success at this point and almost instantly followed this mixtape up with another one titled Can't Speak on It, which was a collab tape with Young and Ace, a Jacksonville, Florida rapper who was on the come up as well. This tape had countless hits on it, but the biggest record on this project was titled Ops, a song which has gone on to become certified gold as well, moving more than 500,000 units. With hit after hit under his belt, it seemed that Jay the Youngin couldn't get any bigger, but just then, Jay released another mixtape at the end of 2019 on October 11th, and the mixtape was titled Misunderstood. Misunderstood was a huge success, peaking at 43 on the Billboard Top 200 and number 23 on the hip hop charts. Not only that, but this mixtape included a song titled 23 Island. Now this song is Jay's biggest record to date, with over 173 million views on YouTube, and it's been certified 2 times platinum by the RIAA, selling over 2 million units in total. This release also seen Jay the Youngin popping up at number 46 on the Billboard Emerging Artist charts. Jay dropped his final project on June 11, 2021, and it was titled 23 Is Back, which peaked at number 46 on the Billboard Top charts, marking the last time he would get to enter the charts. Now, Jay had a lot of success throughout his 6 short years in the industry, but it wasn't all gold and glitter. During the process of making this incredible come up, Jay would run into a slew of problems, some of which added fuel to his career and others that almost destroyed it. So, now that we know Jay, where he came from, and his incredible come up story, I think it's time to touch on more of the backstory and history of Jay so that we can see the full picture of his life and career. And to start things off, I think it's crucial that we discuss some of Jay's criminal history. Now, early on in Jay's career, it was clear that he prided himself on the fact that he had never been arrested, saying in this interview with DJ Vlad,
"When I was in trouble, it was some shit where, like, I mean, it wasn't major shit. It was like, I mean, the trouble was like, I might end up getting into a couple fights, smoking in the hallway, in the bathroom, get caught, then get sent to another school or some shit like that, or I might, you know, all that type, might cuss out the teacher or some bullshit like that. It didn't never get to a point where it got too major."
Now, were you getting arrested at all during
Arrested,
that time?
and that's another thing about me. I never been arrested. Me growing up, everybody around me, all my family members, a lot of my closest friends, like, they been arrested for bullshit that I'm witnessing, like. So what I did was capitalize on this. I mean, I can't be stupid and do the same exact things they was doing. I mean, I was participating in a lot of things, but I always was smart too. And I always was the one who would try to give my advice on not to do certain and to stay away from certain people.
However, when you're a gangster rapper in the industry, it really seems like it's inevitable to avoid finding yourself in some kind of legal trouble, and that is exactly where Jay would find himself at. In May of 2019, Jay was booked to perform at Rolling Loud Music Festival in Miami, but if you had bought tickets to see him perform, you would have been disappointed. That's because according to the Gadsden County Sheriff's Office in North Florida, the car in which Jay was riding, a 2015 Nissan Altima, was pulled over for speeding at around 9 a.m. in the morning. The car contained 4 individuals, one of which was Jay the Youngin. Once pulled over, officers became suspicious and a probable cause search of the vehicle was conducted due to the odor of marijuana emitting from the interior of the vehicle. Troopers found more than 20 grams of marijuana, drug paraphernalia, and oxycodone pain pills. In addition, one of the 4 occupants was found to be in possession of a firearm. Jay was arrested and charged with felony possession of a controlled substance without a prescription and released the following day around noon on a $2,500 bail, but he missed his opportunity to perform at Rolling Loud because of it. This was the beginning of legal trouble for Jay. In February of 2020, Precinct 4 constable deputies executed a search warrant at a residence in the 1400 block of Rocky Glen Lane in Harris County, Texas. The warrant was for family domestic abuse, and Jay was accused of his pregnant girlfriend. She says he grabbed her by the hair and punched her repeatedly several times, inflicting injuries with each punch. She also claimed that she was choked to the point of almost passing out. When law enforcement executed the search warrant, they found Jay hiding in the attic of the home. Deputies also discovered several illegal substances, including oxycodone and promethazine and marijuana. They also found firearms and more than $24,000 in cash, all of which were seized. Jay the Youngin was arrested and booked into the Harris County Jail. His total bond was set at $20,000, which he posted later that year, but he would find himself caught up in even more legal trouble after this. On Saturday, October 30th, 2020, the 23-year-old rapper was arrested on multiple charges after a traffic stop in Washington Parish, Louisiana, and was booked into the jail at around 2:51 p.m. Jay the Youngin was charged with child desertion, a violation of a child restraint, illegal use of a controlled and dangerous substance in the presence of persons under 17 years of age, switched license plates, driving without proof of insurance, possession of a controlled and dangerous substance with present, possession of marijuana, and possession of a Schedule II narcotic. Evidence tampering and contempt of court were also added onto these charges. He was held without bond. In addition to that, he was accused just about a week previous of attacking another woman on October 16th in East Cobb County, Georgia, and left visible marks and scars on her, according to the East Cobb News. He allegedly lived with the woman and was being accused of punching, pushing, and grabbing her as well, so he was arrested twice during 2 weeks here. And this makes the third time he was accused of assaulting a woman. Anyways, jail records show that Jay paid a $1,300 bail in this case, but he remained in the Cobb County Jail on a felony fugitive from justice charge. That charge stemmed from his February incident in Houston where they found him hiding in the attic. Jay was eventually released on these charges pending trial. But there was even more devious criminal acts that were taking place in Jay the Youngin's life. In fact, Jay will find himself being wrapped up in a homicide that occurred on August 8th of 2020, although he wasn't arrested for it until almost a year later. Let me explain. On September 16, 2021, Jay the Youngin was booked into a Louisiana jail and was charged with accessory to second-degree murder and obstruction of justice. It took a few days, but word of his arrest eventually hit social media, and when people started looking into it, they realized that Jay had already posted a $175,000 bond, leaving the world questioning what really happened here. Well, back in August of 2020, a Louisiana native, a female named Big Ray, was hosting a 27th birthday bash for herself, and that included a trail ride that included horses, ATVs, and even food and drink merchants. She hired 2 club promoters to help her market the event, and soon hundreds of people had RSVP'd for the event, and word was spreading quick on social media. Then, August 8th, the day of the event came. Everything was going good and people were turning up and having a good time. Well, they were until about 7:30 that night when the sun started to set. That's when a group of men pulled out AK-style rifles, clutched on the grip, and opened into the crowd of partygoers. People started running, fleeing in every direction as panic ensued. When the gunfire finally stopped, a 21-year-old woman was dead from gunshot wounds, and 2 other people had been shot as well. The 21-year-old girl who died was named Zion Hutchinson, and she was living in Baton Rouge after having recently moved there from Buffalo, New York. Zion was a mother to a 1-year-old daughter and was studying to become an X-ray technician, but her dreams were cut short. Her mother said she talked to Zion while she was on her way to the event and said her last words to her daughter were, "Be safe, have fun, and I'll see you later." It was meant to be a fun night out, away from her responsibilities and duties, and instead, it turned out to be a deadly night that would end her life. Now this is where things will get interesting, because a lot happened after this that'll give context on how Jay the Youngin is tied into it all. The night it went down, Big Ray made a Facebook post that said, "Yeah, I'm hurt. This is sad to see an innocent lady. We was just trying to have a good time, some kind of birthday to remember." She then made another post that said, "But on the other hand, major shout out to Craig Brown and Paul Robertson. Y'all made it happen, even though it ended bad. I want to special thank everyone who came out." It took 11 days, but authorities eventually made the first arrest in this case. Two men, one named Brandon Perry and the other named Tommy Diamond, and they were both arrested and charged with second-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. Craig Brown, the man Big Ray named in those Facebook posts, was also arrested on drug offenses related to the crime, including possession with intent to distribute and negligent homicide and 2 counts of negligent injury for what happened at the party, since he was one of the organizers. So he wasn't charged as a shooter, but was still being held responsible for what happened. To make matters worse, an arrest warrant was also issued for Big Ray, the woman whose birthday was being celebrated the night this all went down. Then on August 22nd, a rapper named 700 Jeezy was arrested and booked in Houston, Texas for the incident, being charged with 1 count of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder, meaning he was the 5th person arrested and the 3rd person accused of shooting the place up. 700 Jeezy is a part of another gang that we'll talk about here in a little while, but for now, let's stay on this story. Anyways, after that happened on September 6th, a man named Raheem Harrell was arrested in Montana in connection to the murder, marking the 4th person to be charged as the shooter. 2 days after that, Big Ray turned herself in facing 1 count of negligent homicide and 2 counts of negligent injury, just like the promoter she hired. Ray was eventually released a month later, while Craig, the promoter, remained incarcerated for almost a year. Now this caused outrage online and people were mad because it seemed like the police were trying to hold the people who held the event more responsible than the people who actually shot the event up, and people started throwing accusations that the police were just too damn dumb to solve the case. But eventually they let Big Ray out a month after she turned herself in, and a year after that, Craig was released from prison as well. Right around the time Craig was released is when a warrant for Jay the Youngin popped up. And like I said, Jay was booked on September 16, 2021, a year after the incident, as an accessory to the crime. Jay posted his $175,000 bond and was gone, but it still wasn't the end of his legal trouble, as only 3 months after this, in October, is when he allegedly assaulted his girlfriend, and all those other charges that included child desertion, possession of a firearm, and possession of narcotics were put on his record. So yeah, 2021 was a crazy year legally for Jay, but if you thought that was all there was, you were wrong, because there was still one more legal hurdle that Jay needed to jump over. Because in December of 2021, the federal government unsealed an indictment for Jay the Youngin. They seen him being arrested on federal gun charges stemming from the incident where he got pulled over with the swap license plates and guns and drugs. And Jay would remain locked up for over 7 months because of this indictment before he learned his fate. On June 16, 2022, Jay was sentenced to time served by U.S. District Judge Sarah S. Vance, along with 1 year of supervised release, a $5,500 fine, and a $100 mandatory special assessment fee. Jay the Youngin pled guilty to a 1-count indictment that charged him with possession of a firearm while under indictment for a felony in a separate case. His release came only 1 month before he was murdered. While Jay had a lot of legal trouble, there was also a lot of street stuff happening as well. Like Jay said at the beginning of the video, he's always been in the streets, and this didn't change just because he blew up musically. Just like his legal troubles became bigger as his career got bigger, so did his problems in the streets. Earlier in the video, we went through Jay the Youngin's come up, and I pointed out how early on in his career, Jay had collaborated with multiple artists from Louisiana. More specifically, his song Up With Me that featured Youngboy and Taking Off featuring Youngboy's brother OG33. Well, these songs helped get Jay in the circle of rap, but while he was there, apparently he didn't want to play friendly all the time. And in 2019, Jay and Youngboy ended up having words with each other. Apparently, Youngboy was upset with Jay because Jay took the liberty of trying to smash Youngboy's baby mama when they separated. Youngboy allegedly hit Jay up to let him know he wasn't rocking with this type of behavior, and apparently the two squashed it, as Jay said he would stop trying to mess with Youngboy's baby mama, which kind of seems like he shouldn't have been doing that in the first place, but it didn't matter because the beef didn't completely die down anyways. As shortly after this, Jay will post a snippet of a song featuring Youngboy on his IG with the caption that said, "I think it's time to do right. Tell Youngboy to drop." Now Youngboy responded to this saying, "Delete this shit. I don't know how the f you even got my song. I don't f around like that," implying that this record wasn't official, and somehow Jay managed to finesse his way onto the track. Either way, the song ended up getting leaked, and Jay denied being the one that released it. Youngboy accused Jay's homies of leaking it. The two would continue to send shots at each other online through various videos. This would further be intensified when Jay released a song titled 38K, which was a clear shot at NBA YoungBoy, taking this thing to a whole new level. YoungBoy responded with this video where he addresses it in a deadly serious but almost hilarious fashion.
These niggas for one, and these ass, the two niggas don't give a about none of that. You be hiding. We real headhunters, man. Come on, man. Open their mouth, came to what they was, man. And you caught the kid and left another fat man in the blind. Oh, bitch, nigga. Man, nigga, know what up with me, man. Bitch, and I said that, you know, we cloud the whole scene. Check the news, you know what up with me. I'm at top.
Now this beef seemed serious, but eventually it did die down and almost seemed to disappear as far as the public was concerned. But while the world was watching this beef unfold on IG, there was another beef brewing in the streets of Louisiana. In Louisiana, gang culture is rampant, even in the small cities like Monroe, Lafayette, Grambling, and the city I want to introduce y'all to today called Roseland. Roseland is about an hour drive outside of Bogalusa, and Roseland is home to a group of rappers called the Purple City Boys, or PCB for short. PCB has beef with another group that goes by the name of La Familia, and La Familia comes straight out of Hammond. One of the key members of this group is a guy named 700 Jeezy, who we mentioned earlier in the story. So let me explain it to y'all. La Familia is connected to two other gangs, one called HG, which stands for Hunger Gang, which comes out of Covington, Louisiana, and 2-3, which comes out of Bogalusa. And as I'm sure you guessed by now, it's Jayda gang. So basically, this is PCB versus La Familia, HG, and 23. Now, in early 2020, these groups would start sending diss records back and forth. This would go on for about a year, but it would hit its boiling point on June 21st, 2020. There was a Father's Day gathering in Amite City, and there were various PCB members in attendance. This included PCB Ty Keith. Now, Ty Keith pulled up to the event and got out of his car. It was at this moment that 700 Jeezy pulled up next to him. Jeezy got out of the passenger side and the two men began to argue. Jeezy then pulled a out and fired several, hitting Ty Keith at least twice in the chest. Ty Keith was taken in a private vehicle to Hood Memorial Hospital in Amite, where he was pronounced dead. Somebody at the scene identified 700 Jeezy as the shooter, and a warrant was issued for his arrest, but 700 Jeezy would be able to evade capture for another 2 months. Meanwhile, PCB Buck dropped this song titled Regardless, which was a dedication to his slain friend. 2 months after the murder, in August of 2020, Jayda and 700 Jeezy were seen in Hammond recording a music video. It was around this time, on August 8th, 2020, that PCB members had a birthday bash planned for one of their friends, and that friend that the party was for, well, it was none other than Big Ray. And the birthday bash is the exact same one that both 700 Jeezy and Jayda were arrested for earlier in this story after the shooting took place. Now, the way that Jay got wrapped up into this birthday bash shooting that left the 21-year-old mother dead is simple. According to law enforcement, Jay helped 700 Jeezy flee the scene and even helped him flee all the way to Texas. That's why he was charged with accessory after the fact, because they didn't think he was the shooter, but they think he helped 700 Jeezy escape. And they also think that 700 Jeezy was the shooter. Now, police would eventually arrest 700 Jeezy. Not only did law enforcement apprehend Jeezy, they also arrested 6 other La Familia gang members as well. Now, Jay was eventually released on that $175,000 bond that I was telling y'all about, but he was picked up and rearrested, like I said, on federal gun charges, where he would sit for 7 months before being released. And only 1 month later, on July 27, 2022, is when Jay was gunned down in front of his mother's house and lost his life. But even though Jayda's life had been snatched from him at only 24 years old, this wasn't the end of his story. Now look, we've covered a lot of ground here, and I'm not really making an attempt to link anyone to Jayda's death at this moment, but instead I just kind of wanted to show you the extent of his involvement in the industry and in the streets. Throughout his career, the beefs were numerous, the disses were endless, and while I could go on and on and on about every little detail because there's a lot, I think you guys get the general gist of it all. It was small town rivalries, large industry beefs, millions of dollars, thousands of fans, gold and platinum plaques, all of it created and ended off the back of rap music. And even after his passing, Jayda continues to have an influence over those that were around him. And that's apparent in every news article that's popped up in the Louisiana news cycle over the last week. The police say they have several suspects, but they ain't the only ones looking for the perpetrator of this crime. Shortly after his death, Jay's people started executing retaliation attacks across the city of Bogalusa, and when I say shortly, I mean within the hour. Only 50 minutes after the incident that took Jay's life, and another shooting took place across town at around 7 p.m. on the 800 block of Marshall Richardson Road. In the incident, a vehicle was shot multiple times, and police are saying it was a retaliation attack for the shooting of Jay. The occupants of the vehicle were not hit though. Officials say this is a very fluid situation and that they can only release a limited amount of information about this case, but there are several outside agencies involved and also assisting, which makes me wonder how long it's gonna take them to arrest somebody. But right after that incident where the car was shot up, and another one took place that resulted in a high-speed car chase before the assailants crashed and bailed out of the vehicle and fled in the nearby woods on foot. Police say they confiscated the suspect's weapon and vehicle and have identified them, but no arrests have been made in this case yet. On top of all that, there are several theories floating around out there about why this happened to Jayda. And while I normally don't like to focus on just theories and I like to just hit the facts, there is one of these theories that really stands out to me and I think it deserves a little more attention. So, this is the theory that Jayda wasn't even the target of the attack, but instead, his father was. And there's a good reason for this theory as well. I'm not saying this is true, but I'm saying it could be plausible. So let me tell y'all about it. See, Jayda's dad, Kenyatta Scott Sr., isn't what we in the real world would call an acceptable human. He has several very serious charges against him, and there could have been people out there that wanted to take him out. That's because Kenyatta Scott Sr., Jayda's dad, was a registered. In 2010, Jayda's dad was arrested and convicted on forcible. But that ain't all. In 2016, he was arrested again, this time for kidnapping, 2 counts of battery, and again. Although he did beat this case, it's like it's still there. You still were arrested twice for the same thing. But look, guys, it don't even end there. Because again in 2021, the local news featured Kenyatta Scott Sr. announcing that a warrant had been issued for his arrest. This time for forcible again and oral battery against a juvenile. Y'all see the trend here? The police raided his house and recovered over 58 grams of meth, 2 pounds of weed, 530 ecstasy tablets, scales, bullets, and extended magazine. Believe it or not, the court granted this man bond, and he posted a picture of his ankle monitor on Instagram along with his bootlegged ass Gucci sneakers. Now, some people have speculated that due to his father's history, it's possible Jay was just at the wrong place at the wrong time and that his father was the intended target. And I could see that argument. I'm sure you guys could see it too, but the truth is, we just don't know at this point. I'm sure more details will be revealed as the weeks go on. And guys, I'm sure there's plenty of other YouTubers that can keep y'all filled in with the rumors and the theories and how it all develops. But for now, that's the whole story. Anyways, that's it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, hit the like button, be sure to hit the subscribe button, tap the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. And yeah, man, y'all let me know what y'all thought down in the comments below. Man, these videos take a long time to make. They take a lot of energy, especially when it's a story like this one that just broke and there's still details coming out. But I kind of wanted to wait and be the one with the most details on it and the best story about it, because that's kind of what we doing here on the channel. We doing what everybody else is doing, but we doing it better. You feel me? So anyways, if y'all want to support that cause, man, y'all hit the like button, subscribe, drop a comment, notification bell. Only do them things if you want to do them things. If you hated the video, hit the dislike button. Anyways, that's it for the video, guys. And as always, it's been fun rocking with y'all. I'm out.